The feast of St. Patrick has been observed in Ireland since the 9th or 10th century, although the celebration we know today was originated in America by homesick Irish soldiers during the American Revolution. So, even though it's more of an American holiday than Irish, I'm gonna take this opportunity to get festive. So, happy St. Paddy's Day, everybody! Let's talk about the Irish telling of Cinderella. This is either perfect timing on my part, or this version was requested a year ago and I'm only now finishing it. Really, either option sounds plausible. Yes, today in the Cinderverse we travel to the Emerald Isle. Hi, I'm the youngest kid at home, and this is the series where I summarize, satirize, and even analyze variations on the Cinderella story. Fair, Brown and Trembling was first published by Jeremiah Curtin in Myths and Folklore of Ireland in 1890. The story is published again a year later by Joseph Jacobs, so he is often also cited as the story source, but their versions are almost identical, so for our purposes, we'll be using Curtin's version. Today I want to ask the question, what makes a Cinderella story? In her collection of Cinderella stories from around the world, Heidi Ann Heiner lists 5 primary motifs in every Cinderella story. Motifs are basically just repeating ideas, or in this case, plot points. The 5 motifs are 1. Persecuted heroine, usually by a family member. 2. A helper, usually with magic. 3. Meeting royalty, often a prince, and usually with a disguise of some sort. 4. Identification or throwing off of the disguise, usually through some object like a shoe or a ring. And then 5. Happily ever after, getting married to the royalty and everything working out great. This gives us a nice bingo card for spotting Cinderella stories, but also leaves a lot of room for differences in detail, as we will see shortly. So fill in that free space and let's dive in. Just a quick disclaimer, I will be talking about Ireland and the culture behind this version. However, I am not an expert in Irish culture or history, and my research is limited by my Googling skills. So if I miss something or get it wrong, please tell me in the comments. This is just my understanding, interpretation of the story, and history. Okay, great. Let's get into it. Our story begins with the king of Tir Conal. Right off the bat, this is an interesting historical crumb, because it could be an alternate spelling of Tir Conal, which was a real-life kingdom in Northern Ireland between the 5th and 17th centuries. Unfortunately, this specificity really only helps me as the artist looking for references for the characters and backgrounds, but it's entirely possible, and I think likely, that the story is much older than the 5th century. But, of course, by the time it was being written down, Tir Conal would have been an appropriately archaic and magical setting for a fairy tale. Moving on! So we have the king of Tir Conal, who in turn has 3 daughters, Fair, Brown, and Trembling. Trembling, being the youngest, is naturally the most beautiful of the sisters, and her older sisters are so scared that Trembling will get married before them, they keep her home and make her do all the chores. Even on Sundays, when Fair and Brown put on their new dresses and go to church, Trembling is made to stay home like some kind of heathen. This goes on for 7 years, until one Sunday, like all the others, the local henwife, keeper of chickens and seller of eggs, visits Trembling while her sisters are at church. Hey Trembling, what are you, some kind of heathen? Okay, 1, you are also not at church? Okay. Get off your hide chicken. 2, if my sisters saw me at church, I'd be dead meat. And 3, all I have is this raggedy dress, which would never fly at church. Oh, honey, if it's a dress you want, I can get you a dress. What kind you like? Oh, well, if I had to pick, I'd want a snow white dress and green shoes. Wonderful. Let me just get out my cloak of darkness. Your what? Oh, cloak of darkness, please give me a snow white dress and shoes of green. Okay, that is not what I meant. I meant a dress as white as snow, but it's alright. Let's try this again. Here we go. Whoop. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Yes, perfect. Also, Trembling, I'm not going to make you walk to church. That would just be mean. So there's a white mare with a gold saddle waiting outside. Oh, and your outfit wouldn't be complete without a honey bird on your right shoulder and a honey finger on your left. Ooh, what are those? Oh, why they're, Okay, look, I don't know what those are, and Google doesn't help. Even people who have illustrated this story before just do a bird or leave it out altogether. I do have some theories, but we'll get to those later. For now, what I do know is that brooches are a big part of Irish history. So what if we just call them some fancy brooches, yeah? Yes, okay, that's what we're gonna do. Okay. Moving on. Now that Trembling is beauteously bedecked in dress and honey accessories, before she goes, the Henwife warns her to stay outside the church and to ride away as fast as she can once Mass is over. So Trembling goes to the church and follows the Henwife's instructions. Even though everyone who sees her wants to meet her, Trembling rides as fast as the wind. Many men try to run after her, but suddenly remember how long it's been since they've been to the gym. Yeah, running as fast as the wind isn't as easy as it sounds, huh, boys? Yeah, that's on you. That's a lot of confidence. When Trembling gets home, she finds that the Henwife has made dinner and quickly puts on her old dress to greet her sisters when they come home. Oh my gosh. You should have seen the absolute queen that was at church today. A fashion icon. We have to get dresses like hers. And did you see her gorgeous brooches? We gotta get those for next week. But ain't it always the way? When they go to get their own fancy brooches, Amazon is fresh out of honeybirds and fingers alike. Better luck next week, girls. Speaking of next week, is it Sunday already? Yep, there goes Fair and Brown in their new white dresses, and in comes the Henwife to, visit Trembling. All right, what kind of dress do you want today? I'll have a black satin dress with red shoes. And how do you like your mare colored? Black and so shiny I can see myself in her coat. You're really leaning into this whole magical help thing, huh? Oh, you know it. All right, I got one order of black swan with the ruby slippers and a black mirror on the side. Before Trembling rides off to church, the Henwife gives her the same instructions as before. We're on a schedule here, don't dawdle around. No one was listening to Mass that day because they were all thinking about who this mysterious woman could be. And even though they all rushed to talk to her after the service was over, Trembling was already long gone, riding faster than the wind. Before the parking lot gets crazy. Trembling is back in her rags, and she and the Henwife are waiting with dinner when Fair and Brown come home, again raving about the beautiful clothes of the mysterious lady. Nobody even looked at our dresses. We gotta get some beautiful black digs for next week. Shockingly, the beautiful dresses that Fair and Brown found on Wish did not live up to their expectations. But still, come Sunday, Fair and Brown are off to church, and the Henwife is ready to fill Trembling's wish order. So, what is it gonna be today? Okay. I've been planning this outfit all week. I also have some sketches for your reference if you want. Okay, lay it on me. So it's like a white bodice and then a red skirt. Okay, pretty straightforward. Okay, but then it's got a green cape around the shoulders and a hat with a feather in it. And the feather is red, white, and green. And then for my shoes, they have a red toe, a white middle, and a green heel. Oh, honey, I don't know. Do you think I'd look better as a blonde? I really think I would. And long and flowing like I've been in a tower my whole life. I mean, I don't usually mess with the hair. I almost forgot about the horse. I'd like it to be white. Oh, okay, yeah. With blue and gold spots all over it. And the best part, the spots should be diamond-shaped. Trembling, what kind of Project Runway nonsense is this? Do you mean you can't do it? Can't do. All right. Come on. Thankfully, the Cloak of Darkness is able to fulfill the request, although switching colors mid-shoe is a challenge. But it all comes out all right, and Trembling loves the results. Sitting between the ears of Trembling's geometrically patterned horse is a bird who begins to sing as soon as Trembling gets into the saddle. I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts, deedly-deedly, there they are, a standing. Fun fact, this is a lapwing, the national bird of Ireland. So,
That's all I know of the song, because I know it from Lion King.
Moving on. Meanwhile, at the church, every prince and important man has come to see the beautiful stranger, whose story has spread far and wide. One of these men is the Prince of Omania. As far as I can tell, made-up place. But there's something different about Prince Omania. Turns out he's Fair's ex. In fact, they were engaged to be married, but he dumped her as soon as he saw the beautiful stranger at church. Kind of adds a sad layer to her wanting to be dressed just like the beautiful stranger. Anyway, fickle as he may be, Prince Omania proves himself to be a bit smarter than the rest of the crowd by hiding in the bushes just outside the church to catch the stranger before she can ride away. So, up rides Trembling, but the church is so packed she can't even get through the gate. Still, once Mass is over, she's ready to ride away as usual. Her horse carries her faster than the wind, but apparently, Prince Omania has been training with Usain Bolt, because as fast as she's going, he's able to stay right next to her. More than that, he grabs her foot as well. Thankfully, her shoes are slip-ons, and the prince is left in her dust with only one of her shoes for his trouble. Not exactly a gold medal, but it's a crack in the case of the mysterious woman. Trembling, on the other hand, is panicking. Thanks a lot, dude. The Henwife is gonna kill me for losing one of her shoes. I don't know what kind of dark magic made them. I might owe my soul to a demon just because you had to know my shoe size. But she was worried for nothing, as the Henwife does not kill her for losing the shoe. On the contrary, this seems to be all part of the Henwife's plan. Well, seems to me you found your soulmate, wink wink. Sounds like you're a real shoo-in. I'm gonna go change.
Now you just have to wait for the other shoe to drop, am I right?
Back at the scene of the shoe theft, Prince Omania has declared himself the winner. I have claimed this lady as mine, even though I don't even know her name. The rest of the princes do take issue with this. All you have is her shoe, man. If you want the lady, you're gonna have to fight all of us for her first. Not to mention, find out who she is. I mean, I did just run faster than the wind to get the shoe, but fine. Let's go find out who she is, and then I'll fight all of y'all like the civilized men we are. You know what this calls for?
Road trip.
So a charmingly motley company of princes set out on the Boys of Summer tour of Ireland, looking for the mysterious woman. North, south, east, and west, they spark a mania that follows them through the land. Young women line up for hours just for a chance to see their favorite boy band. Some fangirls go as far as cutting their own feet, hoping it will make the magic shoe but everyone is left disappointed. The mysterious woman is nowhere to be found. When the news reaches Fair and Brown that the princes are on their way, they cannot wait. Oh, I hope the shoe fits me. Oh no, I'm sure it will fit me. Trembling says without thinking, maybe it will fit me. Although her sisters scoff at the idea, it does freak them out a little, and when the princes come knocking, they lock Trembling in the closet, just to be safe. Knock, knock. Hi, hello. So good to see you. Fair. Hi. Sorry, this is your house. Hey. Isn't this funny? Because, we were a thing, and now I'm, looking for this lady, and I got the shoe. Oh, just give us the shoe. Of course, it does not fit Fair or Brown, although they give it their all. Are there any other women in the house? Yes, right here, locked in the closet. So the jig is up, and Trembling gets her chance to try on the shoe. And it fits perfectly. At last, my search is over. I have found you, the beautiful stranger. Yeah, but are you sure it's me? I mean, I'm pretty sure the magic shoe proves that it's... Proof? That it's you. Proof? You want proof? Hold on a second. Trembling runs to the Henwife and convinces her to use her cloak of darkness to summon all her outfits again, one by one, so she can show them off to the crowd. So now are you convinced that it was me all along? Yes. Great. It's you. You're very pretty. Now, on to the real business of using violence to decide who gets to marry this very fashionable woman. I do not have a manly chair. The first 4 princes to challenge the Prince of Omania are the princes of Lochlin, Spain, Nearfoy, and Greece. Wow, okay, so for a while, Lochlin and Nearfoy really stumped me. But as far as my research can tell, Lochlin is a Gaelic name which evolved from the word for Vikings or Scandinavians, so sure, let's call him a Viking. And Nearfoy is probably a word that was just lost in translation, and there's no way of really knowing what it refers to. So we'll call him some other Irish prince, right? Okay? Okay. Moving on. All right, players, let's head to the battlefield. First up, we have Omania versus Lochlin. They fight for 9 bitter hours until Victory! Omaña wins! Next up, the Prince of Spain. They fight for 6 hours until victory. The Prince of Omaña wins again! But now, here comes the Prince of Nervoy. He fights for 8 hours, but then victory. Omaña wins a third time! Alright, come on, Prince of Greece, give him a challenge! But Greece only lasts for 6 hours before...
Yeah, Omaña wins again. We all know this. Okay, moving on.
You know, the story doesn't specify what kind of combat this is, but I have to assume it's like Monopoly or something for it to last this long. So by the time the Prince of Greece calls the game, the other princes have given up and are waving the white flag. So now the Prince of Omaña can finally marry Trembling. Yay! The wedding celebration lasts for a year and a day because, of course it does. And they live happily ever after. You know how when you were growing up and you were watching The Sound of Music, you always thought that it ended with the wedding, right? Like, that's the happy ending. But then you watch it again as an adult and only then realize that there's like 40 minutes left of the movie that you just didn't know was there when you were little. You know that feeling? No? Just me? Well, now you do, because this story has a whole third act that is about to hit you in the face. Are you ready? I bet you're not. After the year-long wedding, Trembling is about to have her first baby, and of course she wants some help. So, of course, she asks Fair to come stay with her for a while. Hold up, you asked Fair to come help? Yep. As in Fair, your sister who kept you home to do all the housework for years. Yes, my dear sister. The same Fair, your husband's ex, who locked you in a closet? Should be great. Oh, I'm sure it'll go swimmingly. So Fair comes to paint the nursery, go stroller shopping, and the baby's born and everyone is having a good time. No one is bitter or plotting revenge. Then one afternoon, Trembling and Fair go for a walk along the ocean, like you do, and surprise, surprise, Fair takes the opportunity to push Trembling into the ocean, where she is promptly swallowed by a whale. You know, like you are. See, I told you it would go swimmingly. The ocean is scary. Once her sister is safely swimming with the fishes, Fair shows up back at the castle like nothing happened. Hey, Fair, how's it going? Where's Trembling? What? Trembling? I'm Trembling, silly. Fair went back home, so it's just me left. Little old Trembling. Yeah, but Trembling has red hair. Yeah, I dyed it. You like? So this is real sus. And the prince decides to give Fair a test, just to be sure that she is in fact Trembling. He puts a sword in the middle of their bed, and in the morning, if it is warm, then she is his wife. But if not, then she is the imposter. When the sword is cold in the morning, the prince knows that Fair is lying, but has no idea where his wife is. Fair, on the other hand, thinks she's in the clear. What she doesn't realize is that there was a witness to her crime. A humble cowboy. No, not that kind of cowboy. No, more like... Yes, that. He saw Fair push her sister into the ocean, but decided to keep it to himself. He's no gossip. But then, the next day, the cowboy sees the tide come in with the whale that swallowed Trembling. To his surprise, and I'm sure disgust, he also sees the whale throw up Trembling onto the beach. When she sees the cowboy, Trembling beckons him to come closer, which he does. Hey, cowboy, you gotta listen to me. You see that whale? It is a magic whale that is going to swallow me and spit me up again 3 days in a row. Rough time. Yeah, no kidding. Now, be quiet and listen. If my husband, the prince, kills the whale before I'm swallowed a 4th time, then I'll be saved. But the twist is, I can't leave the beach or talk to him before he kills it. So, what I need you to do is to go to the castle and tell the prince to bring a gun and a silver bullet. A gun and a silver bullet. Have guns been invented yet? Hold on a sec. Okay, so according to this, yeah, they could have been in Ireland as early as the 1400s, so sure. So he needs to shoot the whale in the little dark spot under its fin with a silver bullet. Prince, gun, where whale, little dark spot. Got it. So the cowboy runs up to the castle, and it just so happens that Fair meets him at the door. When he asks to see the prince, please, she realizes that he's gonna tattletale on her. How she knew that he knew what she did is more than the story cares to tell us. Regardless, her plan is to give him a potion. Before you see the prince, wanna try our newest refreshing drink with nothing suspicious in it? Oh yeah, for sure. But of course, mixed into that refreshing drink is magic. Forget that very important message you had for the prince. Juice. And the cowboy immediately forgets the very important message he had for the prince. Jeepers, look at the time. I gotta get back to my cows. Bye, never come back. Please. The next day, the cowboy has a weird sense of deja vu when he sees the whale spit Trembling onto the beach once again. Suddenly, everything comes back to him as soon as he starts talking to Trembling. Did you tell him? Is he coming? Please tell me he's coming. Yeah, about that, I kind of forgot. What? How could you forget? It was a very important message. Well, the lady at the castle gave me this yummy juice, and I drank it, and I just forgot everything all at once. This didn't happen to be the same woman who pushed me into the ocean in the first place, was it? That's where I knew her from. I knew she looked familiar. Okay. All right. Go again today, and don't drink anything until you tell the prince your very important message. Got it? So the cowboy goes back to the castle, ignores the drink Fair offers him, and marches straight to the prince and tells him everything. Finally, the prince goes down to the beach, shoots the whale, and frees Trembling. Yay! The prince decides to punish Fair by putting her in a barrel with 7 years' worth of food and sending her out to sea. Yay! One more time now, for real, Trembling and the now king of Amania can live happily ever after. They have 14 children. 14? 14? I don't want to draw 14 different kids. I've already drawn so many. They have 14 identical children and adopt the cowboy, who eventually marries one of their daughters. You know, normal stuff. So everyone is happy, except for Fair and the whale. So, who had a werewhale on their bingo card? Anyone? Anyone? No? Wow, I can't believe you left it out. But really, when we just look at the first half of the story, this is a pretty classic version of Cinderella. We have the two mean sisters, although Fair and Brown are Trembling's biological sisters, which is different. The Henwife is pretty close to the classic image of the fairy godmother we all know. She meets the princess in disguise. Check. Then, of course, we have the familiar shoe test. And, of course, we end with the wedding. So, it's got its happily ever after. Except, that's right, we haven't even talked about the werewhale yet. So, alright, we can confirm that this is a Cinderella story, but let's talk about some things that make the story stand out. So, remember in my last video when I said, so clearly the symbol of mother is very significant to this tale. Well, of course, the very next video I make is an example of when that is not true. There is no mother mentioned, no stepmother, and the Henwife isn't even a proper fairy godmother. She just happens to be an older woman that Trembling knows. This just shows that an evil stepmother is not a requirement for the story. Trembling's own sisters are the villains in her story. Although it may seem unusual, the meeting place at the church rather than the ball or festival is a detail that shows up in lots of other versions of Cinderella. In the Christian world, church was a hotspot for socializing, especially since it was one of the few places where royalty could mingle with the poor folk. This version also includes requirements and instructions. This, again, is something that didn't show up in Grimm's, but is common for Cinderella stories. Sometimes it's leaving before midnight, and sometimes it's not eating that beef stew. This is also a theme in folklore in general. When magic is involved, often there are very specific rules to follow if you want it to work. Another common theme in folklore are tests. These can come in all shapes and sizes, but the kind we see here is known as the true bride test. This is where a woman has to prove in one way or another that she is the true bride of the hero. In this case, we have two true bride tests. First, obviously the shoe test, which shows up in a lot of Cinderella stories. And then we have the sword test. The sword sounds so specific that I have to wonder if this is a cultural reference to the significance of swords in Irish marriage ceremonies, but I couldn't find any written written evidence of this, so let me know if that sounds plausible to you. This test also brings me back around to the weird detail of the honeybird and honey finger. The story itself gives us no context for what these are, and for a long time I had no idea. Then I happened to go read a Scottish version of Cinderella called The Snow White Maiden and the Fair Maiden and the Swarthy Maiden and Frizzle or Bald Pate their mother. Despite the extra detail, the title of this story does suggest a similarity to Fair, Brown, and Trembling, and I'll probably have to cover it at some point, but for now, there are two things in here that might help bring some context to Trembling's story. First, in the Scottish version, part of the Henwife's blessing on the Cinderella character is that wine and honey will flow from her fingers. Then, later in the story, when Cinderella's sister is pretending to be Cinderella, instead of the sword test, the prince asks to drink wine and honey from her fingers. Not weird at all. But when she can't do it, he knows something is wrong. It may just be a coincidence that the words honey and finger show up in both stories, but honestly to me, it makes sense that these could be two branches from the same old story that had some detail about honey flowing from fingers, and then the context got lost or changed over time. Either way, it's nice to know that I'm not going crazy for not knowing what a honey finger is. The other insight that the Scottish version can give us is about the werewhale. Again, this detail has stumped me for a long time, but then, in the Scottish version, the Cinderella character is pushed into a loch by her evil sister and is taken captive by the great beast Senselessness, who she actually talks to and is clearly like a water spirit. In Scottish mythology, it is common for there to be a water horse or spirit in their lochs or lakes. Ever heard of the Loch Ness Monster? So another kind of water spirit is called a Kelpie, famous for being a shapeshifter and a kidnapper of women. And according to at least one source, Kelpies can be killed by, wait for it, a silver bullet. I cannot tell you how excited I was when I found this detail. So, potentially, even though it's called a whale and may appear as a whale, is it safe to say that Trembling's magic whale is less an innocent animal and more a malicious creature of mythology? I choose to think yes. That's all for today. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the Cinderverse. Until next time, remember, if you hope to beat the traffic, try going as fast as the wind. And be careful while walking along the beach. The ocean is scary, man. Thank you so much for watching. Yes, this video took me over a year to finish, but I'm planning on getting into a much quicker posting schedule, so keep an eye out for that. In the meantime, if you have any requests for a version of Cinderella you'd like me to cover, don't hesitate to let me know in the comments. And if you're interested in supporting me on Patreon, the link for that is in the description. Any support and feedback is useful at this point, as I'm, still figuring out what I'm even doing. So thank you, and I'll see you next time.